Hi, this is Tim from Garden Hands. It's kind of a cold January 1st. Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And we thought we'd kind of go through just a little bit of what we did last year and what we plan on doing this year. I think we'll get most of them done. It seems like most of our goals this year are not too high or too far-fetched.
Yeah,
So.
mine are more of a wish list. If they happen, they happen. If not, something else will probably happen. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
They don't need to happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll go through just what we did kind of, and like we say, we always try to have fun with the kids or the family, and I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of things done that kind of makes it more fun too when you check something off the list. So last year we started out in February. We started on the 28th of February. We tapped trees, and we tapped between 300 and 400 trees, maples, and it was a very good year. We finished up on the 19th of March, so it wasn't a real long season for us. We
stopped early.
Stopped early because we had plenty of syrup. We made, I think it was 80 gallons that we made. So that's enough.
Yeah, that's all we need and what we give away.
Yeah. Still have a little bit left.
I got a lot left.
Do you?
Yeah.
We've got a few gallons left, I think, down in the basement in jars. That we'll get it given away here eventually.
Kind of works out. We're fine-tuning how much we need to make it through an entire year.
Yeah, and of that 80 gallons, we took 20-some gallons over to the place where we buy, over to Roth, where we buy our supplies, and sold a little bit there. It doesn't...
The excess.
Yeah. So that kind of helps to get rid of some, even though we don't need it. It works out all right.
Yep.
So we got that done. We wrapped up on the 19th of March, like we said, and then I suppose we spent a day cleaning and moving everything back.
Yep.
All the tables and chairs and supplies.
Yep.
And
Cleaning pans. Oh, that was a big project.
yeah.
And the buckets.
Yes. Yeah. And really not. That isn't too bad.
No.
It takes us, I think Jody and I did that last year.
No.
And no?
No.
Oh.
We joined you for the first time. We wanted
Did
to
you?
film it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
It took 2.5 hours.
Yeah, so it took 2.5 hours
Yep.
to clean all those pails, and the pans take longer.
Yeah.
We kind of let them soak for a couple of days almost. But for 2.5 hours of work, it does go pretty good.
Yeah,
So
no,
there's four
it
of
was
us.
in the shop, so it was heated. It wasn't a big deal.
No, it's easy to do. And it's nice to get it done and get them put away.
Yeah, before they start getting mold or any kind of bacteria in them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, otherwise it's a little more work. We got that done, and then I didn't write down there. I did write down, but I didn't look it up. The day that we started, we've got a little shelf down in the basement that's 4 shelves that are 2 feet long, 3 feet long maybe, anyway. They've got grow lights that we hung underneath them. So we started some tomatoes, and then we started our asparagus. We planted some asparagus from seed, which it did work. It just takes a long time. maybe
Yeah, that's a
years
multi-year.
to get them going, but they did grow and it worked all right. It was just the seeds that we took off from our plants from the previous year. And then eventually we started some cucumbers. And we used soil blocks to do that with. If you watch the videos back then, they're just little, what are they, 3/4 or inch square?
I thought the bigger ones were 2. I don't remember.
Use those, but
Yeah.
about an inch or 3/4 inch square soil blocks that you use your soil and you compress it and make the little block and put the seed in it. That worked out real well.
Yeah,
We had very good germination
with
on
the
those.
smaller size soil block.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, those worked out great. So we're going to use those again this year when we do start the tomatoes and cucumbers and whatever else we're going to start down there. The grow lights worked very good too. It's a little bit of money to spend to put them in, but then after that you're done and you put them on a timer and that goes on every morning or whenever you want it to go on. It's in the basement, so we don't have any light down there. After we got that done, planted trees. Probably that was the first thing in the spring as we went across the road where we used to have a windbreak, and that got taken down. We put in a couple hundred, or I think it was 200 trees last year, and then this year we put in an additional 200, and some of those went in spots where we had trees that didn't make it to fill in the spots. So now we've got enough over there, and we figured this year, or 2022, that we'll need about, I think we said 20 or 40, something like that. to fill in the trees that were dead last year, that we know that were dead. So
Yeah.
there'll be some that won't
Just
make
to
it
replace.
again. But, so we think we can get another 50 trees probably to fill in the spots, and then we'll plant a few extra ones on the end too. But that's gone super good.
Yeah, it looks
Happy
really
with
nice.
that. Yeah. And we're also gonna put mulch around those trees. We'll go get a couple loads of mulch and put around the trees, and that will speed up mowing, because now we kind of try to stay real close and get them all trimmed up where if we get that mulch
Yeah.
there, we'll be able to go a lot faster.
And it'll help with watering too. They'll retain the
Yeah.
moisture a little bit better.
Yes, that's right, that's right. Last year we made an orb for the backyard with some bands. That was kind of a quick little project for a couple hours. And then after that we got the garden planted. And that took off, and the garden produced really well. I think a lot of people said that last year, in this area at least, was a good year
Yeah.
for gardening. Everything yielded well. We didn't have much trouble with disease, knock on wood.
Yeah. We didn't have any rain, if you're relying
Not on
on
rain,
rain,
yeah.
but we had drip set up in our garden, so that,
Yeah, I think that was super.
Yeah.
And if we have a lot of rain, you can shut that off, but we had heat, and that you do need, it's the same as growing crops for the farm, you need heat. It seems like sometimes you have too much of it, but these crops need heat to kind of keep progressing. So right after we planted the garden, then we went in and did those hay racks for Jody on the fence, built some hangers so that we could hang them, and we put up 5, 6 of them. And then we put drip irrigation on those, and you're the flower lady, so you talk.
they looked fabulous. I think she planted 4 different varieties of petunias and a couple different varieties of verbenas. She learned a little bit about what she likes in there, but they were phenomenal. They started and they didn't stop growing. They were hanging down past the basket after a month. It was hands off. They were on automatic drip, so once you guys figured out how much water they needed,
Yeah.
you just fertilized them, and they were phenomenal. I mean, you had people commenting on them. You actually had a couple people stop and take a picture or ask about them.
Yeah.
They looked really nice.
Yeah,
that was a good project to do.
That was a win. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
And you get to do it again. I mean, you can use the same flowers this year or pick something different, but you have the infrastructure there that you can
Yes.
do it again this year.
Yeah. That drip irrigation, that is such a labor saver for your garden or for your flowers or for a flower bed, and it's not that much work to put it down, and it's not that expensive. Once you get figured
Yeah.
out what brand of fittings you want to go with, so you stay with
Yeah.
all the same brand, it probably helps.
Yeah.
But that's a labor saver for sure. After we got the garden started and the flowers started, we also did the wagon out by the road, a wagon that she puts,
Similar flowers.
in. That turned out real well. I'd like to get drip irrigation to that. I say it's so good, but it's out away from everything, and if I work at it enough, we can make it work there to get that in there. But it did good. You just have to water it every day. So after we get the garden planted, then of course you get to harvest it. So July and August we harvested or reaped the bounty that garden had, and we ended up using about 400 jars for canning. Most of them are quartz. We did half of that in V8 juice. Somebody seems to think that we need a lot of V8 juice, which I enjoy today. I do like that. So we made a lot of V8 juice last year. We did quite a few jars of pickles, I think 60 or 70 quarts of pickles, a lot of tomato soup. That's a big hit this time of year. That's really good, super good. And we made pizza sauce too, and that turned out great. We had some of that the other night on some spaghetti, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Right? On some spaghetti squash, and that pizza sauce on there was really good. So we got done with our canning. Then we started working on a tree house, and that we got a good start on it. So then that's on this year's main to-do list, is finish that up for the kids so they can enjoy that. And then we planted some crops on the farm and harvested a little bit, worked for the neighbor, I guess. We're kind of retired, so.
And you had surgery and
Yeah, we got that done. So.
you fit all that in.
Yeah, but it was a good, busy year, and everybody's healthy right now, and we're just blessed to have that. That's the important part.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a phenomenal year. I got to work from home again, and that helps so much with my gardening hobby. I get to walk right outside at 4 o'clock and work on things. My big wins for the year were I started at least 3 new gardens. So I started with that little triangle garden out by the horse pen. It wasn't much, but it saved mowing and weed whipping time, which was the main benefit. But it's actually really cute, and
I think turned out good.
Yeah, I think it'll be a win for next year as well. I made a little island garden along the wood line. It doesn't look like much yet. I didn't spend a lot of time, but this was Emma's garden. So she picked the plants that went in there. I think this year and next year we'll start to see some of the things. She put a lot of peonies in there, so that'll be exciting. And then the main one was putting the memory garden in. So we had grand plans to put in a memory garden in the front yard that we could all see. And Kevin and I went out there in the 105-degree weather and made it all of 2 feet wide. And then the cavalry came in and we got that done. And I mean, it took a good week, I suppose. Morgan came out and helped, and Mom and Dad were out, and we got the mulch and the plants put in, and it is really pretty. I mean, it's turned out really well. It's going to take a few years for it to establish and for the trees to start growing, but I think it's something that we're really going to enjoy. So that was a huge win.
I think one of the things that we all learned or brought in from that was working together. And we work together on a lot of things, but working together when you brought in the mulch or took the sod off. And I think that's something that we'll probably do a little more of. We do it anyway with maple syrup and gardening and canning too, but our mulch projects and our landscape projects, if we can all, we do work together. It isn't that we don't get along or anything, but it's like, wow, we got all that done in a day.
It goes a lot faster with more hands. I don't remember what the saying is.
Yep.
Many hands make light work or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm notorious for wanting to do things myself and not bother other people. But you have the equipment that makes things go really fast, so.
It's just nice to work, and it's more fun too.
It is. Yeah. Nobody wants to be out there in 105 degrees for 8 hours when you can do it in 1.
No.
So, yeah, that worked out really well. I planted a lot of perennials last year, which doesn't sound all that exciting, but I think I put in 15 different peony plants, which in 3 years is going to be beautiful. It's going to start adding a lot of color that we don't have right now, kind of being in the middle of a big field. So that was really exciting, and I was glad to get that done. My other big projects were not garden hands related, and we didn't show it in any of the videos really, but we added onto the barn and put in a new pasture and added a new horse. So that was really exciting. I mean, that's something that I like, and that's going to change how things look around our house for the next year and what a lot of my projects are going to be, because it kind of ripped up the yard and changed how things are laid out. So we get to readjust what our garden plan is. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then in the fall, another thing that's always nice to get done, and you reap the benefits in the spring as well as for years to come. Mom and I planted hundreds, maybe 1,000 or more bulbs, tulips, daffodils, alliums, all those spring blooming bulbs. It was great to get in. You don't see anything once you do it. It doesn't look like we did anything for those many days, but it'll be really exciting, especially if we make flower bouquets for the nursing home again next year. That will help tremendously.
Yeah, well,
It's fun. I enjoy flowers.
You guys worked a couple of days on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went through many batteries on those drills. And then my last thing, I put up Christmas lights again this year, and they looked really good. There's not that many. It's just on the front of our house, but I was really excited. Some years it just looks a little bit too flat, but this year it actually looked really good. So I ended the year on a good note. Lots of pretty lights. So I got some comments on that, which made me very happy.
Yeah.
All right, so looking forward, 2022, we got a whole year ahead of us. I guess the first question is, because I know we're going to do projects. Yes. I know that's not going to stop, regardless if we keep doing the videos or not, but are the videos going to continue?
You're looking at me?
Yeah, just
You're the
throwing it
one-
out there.
You're the one that pushes the record button.
Well, Mom's pushing the record button today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll keep going.
I think we're still having fun doing it, and we're still doing the project, so we might as well push the record button on the camera while we do it.
There you go. Yeah, so the main goal is to finish that treehouse. We need to get that, we will
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah,
Get that
you're
done.
halfway there, right?
Yeah, it might be. It might be,
Almost halfway.
yeah. And it'll go fine once we get, that'll be a late May, 1st of June kind of a project. And
Yeah.
maybe we can get it where we've got the kids around to help a little bit, or to help. We've got the kids around anyway. But if we can get them included in some of it, because when they could say that they helped build it,
Yeah, that'll leave a little bit more of a memory too.
yeah. So we'll get that finished, and then after that, a lot of the projects are not that big. First, we'll make maple syrup again, another 2 months. And this year we purchased an RO, or a reverse osmosis machine, to take away some of the water, to filter some of the water out. So we have to boil less sap, and it'll speed us up. If it works for us, we have to get it figured in how we're going to do each thing, each step of it. But if we can make that work into our process and save a little bit of time at night or in the morning, either one, and a little firewood too,
Yep.
it'd be kind of nice. So we'll get through the maple syrup season and then start on the tree house, and then after that we'll check in with Lindsay and see what she's got on her list.
I don't have that much on my wish list for the year. I love lists. I've got a list for every category that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, where'd you get that from?
I don't know. Maybe the camera lady. On my list every year is to try something new. So usually in the gardening realm of my wish list, that's try some kind of new vegetable or try a new type of flower plant or something like that. Just to learn a little bit more about it, to get the kids to try a new vegetable, to, just something new.
Yep.
Instead of doing the
Yep.
same old thing every time. So that's a little thing. I've already got seeds that I'll be trying, so I'll have that one checked off pretty easily.
Yeah.
Not a big thing. Another thing that I would really like to do is share more flowers. I had a lot of fun creating the bouquets this past year and utilizing all the cut flowers that I started and planted. So I definitely want to do the nursing home ones again if they want them. And then I shared some with neighbors and friends last year, and that was just, it feels really good just to give to somebody else, especially during this crazy time. And, we don't see as many people, so that was really fun. I'd like to do that again.
That carries through into the maple syrup and into the garden.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of hauled around quite a few pails of tomatoes to neighbors. I don't know if
Yeah.
they liked them or not, but we got rid of them. No, they did. They appreciated them. And it is fun.
Yeah.
Because they're cheap to grow, and it's just fun to have something that you can share with someone else. One thing we didn't get done last year was we were going to work on the north side of your house.
Yes. I had to figure out which direction, north, south, east, west. Yeah, so I have a shade garden along my driveway, and it's actually goes up into the sugar shack. And we had talked about maybe putting in some kind of steps or stairs that would break up all of the garden bed there, but also kind of look neat going up into the sugar shack, or the kids could use it to get to their treehouse.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy as just taking some rocks from the woods and putting them there, which is what I would have done. But we might need to do some grading. There's some trees that are dead and some limbs that need to come down to make it safe. So
Yeah.
that will be all hands on deck. We talked about doing teamwork. That one's going to require some teamwork to get done. But that might be kind of fun and button up that side of the house.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have it finished. That'll look good, and
Yeah.
it won't be too bad of a deal, I think. Those kind of projects are fun, where you can get
Yeah.
at them and do them and finish them. Another thing that, well, it isn't a project, but for Christmas, Santa brought Jody an edger that's going to fit on the front of right now I use it, it's a broom. It's a little steel, I think they call it a combi, something like a combi, tool, a rotary broom, and we use it to scrape the gravel or the dirt off the lawn after we've plowed snow, and you do your driveway, and then there's some snow with gravel in it, so we use that to sweep that off so you don't run it through the lawnmower in the spring. So you remove that part of the tool and put on a edger. So we got that, so I think that'll be something that...
Yes, we're hoping that I can borrow it. We're hoping I can borrow it.
Yeah.
But I think we have plenty of different beds that we can try it out on, and I think that'll save a lot of time from manually edging, and it'll just make everything have nice, crisp lines.
Yeah.
Speaking of Santa, I believe I also have my gift sitting in the other room, which I'm really excited to open. Santa was a little late. It must not have fit in the sleigh this year. But I got a pop-up greenhouse. So it's a temporary greenhouse. It's 6 feet long by 4 feet wide or something like that. It'll just be used to harden off plants in spring. So instead of hauling trays out every day for a month and hoping I don't accidentally freeze them or forget them outside at night, I can put them in there and just leave them.
That'll be handy.
It'll be so nice.
Yeah.
There's always a juggle at the end of March and April trying to fit enough plants under the greenhouse or under the lights and outside and in the basement. So this should free up some space for me.
Yeah.
And
That'll be handy.
it'll get some of my plants outside faster, especially the ones that like cooler weather.
Another thing we'll do this summer, I believe, is we'll get some chickens again. I don't think we've done that for been a couple years now. So we raise our own chickens, or we purchase chicks and raise them in a chicken tractor. So it's a small little shed. It's a little cage that you pull around. It's probably 10 feet square. There's a couple of them that we have. You pull it around the yard. Every day you move it once or twice, and then they graze on the grass, and you feed them their grain also and their water. And what does it take? It's like 60 to 70 days it takes to raise these chickens up to where they're the size they're ready to butcher. And the chicken that you raise just tastes so much better. And besides that, there's a freezer full of them in the wintertime when you don't have to worry about buying your meat. It isn't any cheaper than maybe buying them from someone else, but it's fun to do. The kids enjoy coming over once in a while looking at them, watching Grandpa feed them and move the cage. But, so we'll do that this summer, and we'll raise 1 or 2 batches of those. I think we raised 60 in a batch, so we share them with Lindsay and Morgan, and then one of the nephews might raise and do it with us, so we share the chores and then share what we have at the end. So we'll end up doing some chickens, so that'll be the livestock that we have on our farm.
I've got some livestock on mine as well. It's not a fun one though. I need to figure out how to manage the Japanese beetle problem that I have this year. So we are going to be spreading some kind of grub stuff on the ground because they grow underground from the fall to the spring, I think.
Okay.
And we're gonna see if that helps, but it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
So.
You definitely, it's amazing. I mean, we don't have any kind of pests here to speak of in the garden, but it was our first year of a big garden.
Yeah.
But your place.
Well, even across the street, they don't have any of them.
It's got to be that kind of you've got the right corner of the woods where it's warm there.
Or maybe the water, I don't know, or all the plants. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you need to.
Something's got to go. It's got to be the Japanese beetles or the plants, and I think we know how that's going to end.
Yeah.
But that's on my list this year to actually make a bigger effort to battle them because they are disgusting. In the memory garden, we were talking about maybe putting some kind of a structural piece that the kids pick out. We still need to do that. Maybe make a bench for the memory garden. Added a new project.
We just talked about that last night, didn't we? Or the night before. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but that might be something we could maybe put on the list.
I think we'll talk to a neighbor who came over and helped do soup and V8 juice, and he had made a couple of benches at his place.
Yeah.
And we'll talk with Mark and see if he can
guide us.
There you go. Good work. Or come over and do it.
Or you can help. He loves that kind of stuff, so he would, I'm sure, be happy to help. I have some new garden spaces that I'm going to be creating this year.
Yep.
I have the retaining walls on the south side of my house. There's still one left that has been like my Achilles heel. I just can't figure out how to design that one, so that's at the top of my list. And then because we put in the barn and the new pasture, I have to get rid of one of my long gardens because it's now in the middle of nowhere, and figure out if I'm going to add a new garden in its place. And then we also added a ½ acre roughly of new front yard where there used to be the field.
That's right.
So
that's true.
we're gonna have a little bit of planning to do. We need to have some kind of a, not really a road, but where people would drive to get to the barn or to the backyard, so that it doesn't go right through the front yard, right through the middle of the front yard.
Yes.
So we'll put in some trees. The family would like to put in some kind of a little orchard with a couple different kind of fruit trees. So we have some planning to do for that, which is exciting. That's all big stuff.
Yep. That'll take a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's not a this year wrap it up, button it up thing. That's going to be over the next few years as we kind of plan and figure out how we use the space.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Could put a volleyball court in.
There you go. We can haul some sand in.
Yeah, there we go. Speaking of hauling, one of our things that we were talking about for this year, along the theme of kind of working together and teamwork, was how we're going to tackle mulch. In the past, we've done everything from having my husband pick up 4 bags of mulch at a time on his way home from work all summer long. Last year, you brought over several dump truck loads of mulch for us, and then we kind of moved that around. But I think what we figured out works the best is when we just spend a day and all work together. You bring your Kubota over, we've got a bunch of pitchforks and shovels, and we just tackle one garden at a time. Over here, any work that needs to be done by the sugar shack, and then at the farm and the lake.
Yep.
And just kind of get it all done in one day instead of spreading it out for months.
Yeah, it does work a lot better. Last year, I think we totaled it up, and Jody did quite a bit up at the lake, but we did like between 40 and 50 yards of mulch between the 3 places. So, and this year I know we'll use 20 or 30 yards just around those little trees.
Yep.
But those go quick. They aren't as fussy.
Yeah.
Just kind of get it done. But it does work good to do that, and having a couple of tools, machines to do it with is, they're here on the farm, we might as well use them. So
yeah, it just takes a little bit of time, but
yeah.
it's way easier than unloading 4 bags at a time and figuring out which garden is going to be the special one that day.
Yeah. And after that, after those projects, which are, none of them are insurmountable by any means, we get those done, and then we work on our wood cutting and trail maintenance for the syrup shed, and then we're back into canning and gardening again. We're blessed to have a healthy family and to make it through last year without any crisis, and move on and be ready in case one does come our way.
Yep. Yeah, we had a good year. Looking forward to another good year, a better year.
Yeah.
Have some fun, get outside.
For sure, get outside. Boy, there's no plans there for sitting inside, is there?
Nope.
Dang. How about naps? Is there any nap plans?
Nope. Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. We're hoping to post a few more on a more regular basis now. Life has calmed down a little bit, so we can get some videos put out there for you. We hope you have a fantastic 2022.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.